viewers, you're watching Afghanistan Report and I'm your host Swati Kundra. The main stories are: Afghan President says anti-corruption should not be a fashion. At least 73 people die in Afghanistan bus crash. US Afghan forces free kidnapped son of Pakistani ex-premier. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, while speaking at an anti-graft summit in London, calls upon Europe to follow the drug money and prosecute those who benefit from corruption and end up in the wealthy continent. Let's have more on this report.
The drugs trade and corruption generate more money than lawful economic activities in Afghanistan. Opium sales generated an estimated US $2.8 billion in 2009, while in 2015 it crossed $3 billion mark. It is well known that the Taliban, local criminals and international drug cartels profit enormously from the drug trade. Speaking at an anti-graft summit in London on May 12, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani pleaded with Europe to do more to crack down on all those who profit from drug money flowing out of Afghanistan.
We need, in order to engage in this type of action, anti-corruption should not be a fashion that is discarded with the next set of elections or the next set of changes. We have to have the know-how, the knowledge, and the determination that we are going to stay with this. In here, what we are asking fundamentally is for you and all of Europe to go after drug money. UNODC is documented out of $500 billion that were earned in a decade from drug money produced in Afghanistan, roughly 480 billion have ended in Europe. There's been no prosecution for this.
Before the summit, British Prime Minister David Cameron had called Afghanistan and Nigeria as fantastically corrupt nations. Later, Cameron responded to members of the House of the Commons on the issue.
Countries like Nigeria and Afghanistan, their leaders are battling hard against very corrupt systems and countries. And in both their cases, they've made some remarkable steps forward. And that's why I'm so keen to welcome them to the anti-corruption conference here in London.
In Kabul, a member of the parliament criticized David Cameron for his remark. Mohammad Farhad Siddiqui said countries like the UK should be ready to share blame for corruption.
بدون شک ما باز هم میگم که فساد در افغانستان جریان داره و عامل فساد هم خود انگلستان جامعه بین المللی امریکایی هاست در افغانستان و باید در این موقع زمان و در این وقت بر مردم افغانستان میگه در طور یک مجلس نمیگم و دومی که این توهین کرد به مردم افغانستان.
On the streets of Kabul, people blamed poverty for the high level of corruption in the country, which they said was a necessary evil for survival.
برای ملت افغانستان، برای کاخنشینا، برای رهبرای سیاسی افغانستان یک پدیده شرم‌آور است. این بسیار بر مردم یک ننگ است که دنیا اعلان میکنه که افغانستان فساد اداریش در اوج خود رسیده.
The latest figures from Transparency International listed Afghanistan as second from bottom on the list of corrupt countries on the Corruption Perception Index that puts it at a number 166.
At least 73 people died and dozens others injured after two passenger buses and a fuel tanker burst into flames following a head-on collision in eastern Afghanistan. We have a report.
In a tragic incident of bus crash near the city of Gilani, at least 73 people have died and more than 50 injured. Most of the dead, including children, were burned beyond recognition. The accident on the highway between Kabul and Kandahar was reported at 6 a.m. on May 8 when two buses collided with a fuel truck which burst into flames. The drivers were most likely speeding to avoid attacks by the Taliban.
موټر د خاصه بل موټر رالی موږ موټر پښکیواله موږ موټر چې پښکیواله دا خاصه بل دغه رالی کنټینر دغه رالی تیل چې پښکیوړي دا رالی.
Both buses hit the fuel truck which exploded, causing all three vehicles to catch fire and crash. Officials said there were 140 passengers on the buses. Afghan soldiers rushed to the scene and saved some passengers, but many of the injured were in a critical condition in the hospital.
Ali Haider Gilani, the kidnapped son of a former Pakistani Prime Minister, is rescued in Afghanistan 3 years after gunmen abducted him in his Pakistani hometown. We have a report. The kidnapped son of Pakistan's former Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani, who was rescued by US and Afghan forces from his Al-Qaeda captors in Afghanistan, headed home to Pakistan on May 11 on a chartered plane. Ali Haider Gilani was held captive for 3 years after being abducted by gunmen from his hometown in Pakistan just days before the general elections.
ما عملیات خاصی را پیلانگذاری کردیم و توسط قطعه خاص اردوی ملی افغانستان این عملیات پیش برده شد و تعدادی از کسای شبکه القاعده که در اونجا مقاومت کردند کشته شدند و خوشبختانه منجر به این شد که ما امروز جوان عزیز خود زنده و سلامت نجات دادیم و امروز رسما این را به مردم پاکستان تسلیم میکنیم.
Gilani thanked his rescuers in brief comments as he was formally handed over to Pakistani diplomats at the Afghan Ministry of Defense.
I really appreciate the Afghan government's efforts and the Afghan forces' efforts. For someone like they've sacrificed these sacrifices for someone from another country that shows the efforts of the Afghan government to bringing peace in our region. And I would also like to thank US forces, which at the critical moments of my release provided me with shelter, food and medical care. And at this time I'm looking forward to be reunited with my family and just getting back to normal life.
Gilani was abducted on May 9, 2013 from outside an office of the Pakistan People's Party in his hometown of Multan 2 days before the general elections. His rescue occurred partly by chance as Afghan and US Special Forces raided the suspected Al-Qaeda compound. The force had an inkling a hostage was being held there but was not aware it was Gilani. Pakistan and Afghanistan on May 13 agreed to reopen a main border crossing for thousands of stranded passengers and transit trade convoys 4 days after a fencing dispute brought traffic to a halt. The decision to resume routine border traffic at the northwestern Torkham crossing came after Afghan Ambassador Hazrat Omar Zakilpal met with Pakistani military chief General Rahil Sharif to discuss the matter and other issues related to border management. Now we take you to an NGO named Khalsa Diwan in New Delhi, which provides free training in different fields to Afghan students belonging to Sikh community. The training aims to make them self-sufficient. We have a report.
It was established in 1992 with an aim to better the livelihood of Afghan refugees in India. The children of Afghan refugees are provided education as well as vocational and spiritual training.
Our tuition class, टेलर क्लास जो टेलर सिखाते हैं, हारमोनियम जो बच्चों को संगीत सिखाया जाता है, तबला, उसके अलावा बच्चों को कंप्यूटर, इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग कोर्स, इसमें हमारे साथ और किसी कोई हेल्प नहीं है. हमारा ख़ुद एक बंदा है जो बाज़ार जाके जो हमारे अफ़गानिस्तान के लोगों की दुकानें हैं, किससे 100 किससे 50 ऐसे पैसे लेके हमारी हेल्प होती है.
Keeping in mind their cultural background, they are also taught to render Gurbani accompanied by a harmonium. Relevant items like harmoniums and computers are provided to the students by the organization itself.
हमें यहाँ पे हारमोनियम के साथ गुरबानी सिखाई जाती है.
The teachers are proud that they are helping the children make a better future.
मैं यहाँ पे खालसा दीवान में 6 to 10 स्टैंडर्ड्स को बच्चों को ट्यूशन पढ़ाती हूँ. ये सब यहाँ पे अफ़गानी स्टूडेंट्स पढ़ते हैं जो काबुल से आए हैं या फिर इनका बैकग्राउंड काबुल से है, अफ़गानिस्तान से है स्टडीज़ का, इसीलिए इनको यहाँ पे फ्री पढ़ाया जाता है. इनको हर तरह की नॉलेज दी जाती है यहाँ पे. हमें भी अच्छा लगता है इनको पढ़ा के आगे कि इनका फ्यूचर अच्छा हो जाए.
Students also value the training they receive. since they are aware they wouldn't have had a secure life in Afghanistan.
यहाँ बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाते हैं, टीचर्स भी अच्छे हैं, यहाँ के प्रिंसिपल्स भी अच्छे हैं, बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाते हैं। तब अफ़गानिस्तान से आए थे क्योंकि अफ़गानिस्तान के हालात बहुत ख़राब थे, वहाँ लड़कियों को अच्छा नहीं पढ़ाते थे, मतलब वहाँ की पढ़ाई भी अच्छी नहीं थी।
Many Afghan refugees sought asylum in India after 1992, after the fall of Najibullah regime and eventual emergence of the Taliban. The emphasis of the society is on equipping the young refugees with necessary skills to enable them to adjust to the country.
With that, we come to the end of this week's episode of Afghanistan Report. I'm Swati Kundwa taking your leave. We'll be back next week with more news and views from Afghanistan. Goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.